And now we're going to hear from Road Haulage Association's Chief Executive, Richard Burnett.
Will, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Baroness Fear, for your recognition of the critical role this industry has played throughout the pandemic. I'm delighted to be taking part in today's event and grateful to Commercial Motor for bringing our industry together during what has been the most challenging year for all of us. Since becoming Chief Exec of the RHA, there have been a number of extraordinary challenges that our industry has had to overcome. However, nothing could have prepared us for COVID-19. As Baroness Fear has just recognised, it is our industry that has kept critical goods moving, supermarket shelves stacked, factories open, and medical supplies in hospitals. We have just done our job. The UK's road transport industry has always been the lifeblood of the UK's economy, and perhaps now there is even more recognition of this. The full impact of the pandemic will not be clear for months, if not years, but for many road hauliers, the consequences have already been catastrophic. At the peak of the crisis, half of the UK's truck fleet was parked up and much of it remained inactive, waiting for key sectors to be unlocked. Construction, non-essential retail, food service, and aerospace were all hard hit, and whilst these sectors are recovering, it will be some time until volumes return to normal. The live event sector has probably been one of the worst affected. It was the first to collapse and will most likely be the last to return. Many hauliers in this sector have been decimated, and the outlook for these businesses hangs in the balance. There is real widespread risk that if further intervention is not provided, the event sector could collapse. The measures that were introduced to support our industry during the initial stages of COVID-19 were essential. We should not underestimate the complexities of relaxing vehicle testing, driver's hours regulations, and driver medicals. And I am incredibly grateful to Baroness Fear and the others at the Department of Transport who supported this unprecedented effort so that we were able to maintain critical supply chains. The industry also welcomed support from the Treasury, and in particular the Job Retention Scheme, which has been a lifeline for many businesses and those in our sector. Now, the real test will be when this benefit fades away this next month. The Chancellor's Winter Economy Plan announced last week sets out a series of measures to help businesses beyond October. But for road haulage businesses who still have no work, it will not be enough to safeguard their future and the jobs that rely upon them. As you're all aware, there were several significant challenges that the industry was facing into prior to COVID. Baroness Fear mentioned some of these in her speech a moment ago, and I would like to briefly touch on those that have been exacerbated or even threaten our ability to recover quickly as a sector. The lack of available facilities on our road network makes recruitment and retention of drivers much more difficult. The government recognised HGV drivers as key workers during COVID-19, and given their crucial role in keeping the economy moving, investment to improve facility capacity on the network has never been more important. We all know that the current provision of safe, secure lorry parking and welfare facilities is shamefully inadequate, and I welcome Baroness Fear's view that we must now turn ideas into action. A green recovery is clearly a key priority for government as well, but what does that mean for road hauliers? HGVs can have a life cycle of anything between 3 to 12 years depending on their work and mileage. Operators should be able to invest in new vehicles, knowing that they can be used without retrospective fines or charges for the same amount of time. The current approach from government to devolve responsibility to local authorities means that we have a complicated patchwork of regulation which is stranding assets. There are 125,000 Euro 5 trucks that have become stranded assets because they do not comply with policies introduced after their purchase. But it's not too late though. Leeds is the latest major city to scrap charging for HGVs making deliveries into its city centre. But many others must take the same pragmatic approach, and we urge government to intervene to provide a single regulatory framework stopping devolved inconsistencies. The 1.9 billion investment in Euro 6 trucks has contributed to NOx falling by almost 60% since 2013, demonstrating how effective and well thought through policies can really work. Let's touch on skills again. And again, I would like to thank the Secretary of State for Transport and Baroness Fear for their support in ensuring the funding for the C+C apprenticeship is at the appropriate level. We still have a few hurdles to jump, but with this support, I have no doubt we will get to where we need to be. That said, the broader apprenticeship levy programme has failed us as an industry. Since April 2017 to June 2020, the road haulage and logistics industry has paid 480 million into the levy pot and only drawn down 10%. We thought the shortage of HGV drivers may have abated during COVID due to the slowing economy and reducing volumes. However, the impact of losing 20,000 practical driving tests, coupled with drivers retiring at a higher rate, means the shortage is still very much alive. There is also the uncertainty for the 60,000 European drivers that are currently employed here in the UK. Many of those drivers returned to their home countries during lockdown, and with our transitional arrangements still unclear, a significant number have still yet to return. We've got to work quickly to reverse these trends. A simple step would be to include HGV drivers in the Home Office shortage occupation list. This would ease the path for those with the right skills to work in our industry now. Longer term, we need to train a UK-based workforce, but we can only do that if schemes such as the apprenticeship levy work for the industry and are not considered another tax on business. So from the challenge of COVID to the challenge of transition, the UK's exit from the EU will be a significant area of focus for all of us now. The vast shortage of intermediaries to produce custom declarations for traders and the gap in the border operating model means that there is still a significant amount of work to do before the year end to ensure that we have a functional border that does not stop the UK trading with the EU. The RHA remains absolutely committed to working with government to help prepare our industry for this milestone. With less than 60 working days of the transition period left, whether the UK gets a deal or not, we shall continue to work tirelessly on behalf of our industry for whom success absolutely depends. Finally, I would like to join Baroness Fear in thanking our industry for its incredible work throughout the pandemic, keeping the nation fed and medicines moving. Never has the government and this industry worked as closely, providing intelligence and completing surveys to understand what is working, what is failing, all of which has been an invaluable education. As I mentioned at the beginning, I hope there is now a much wider recognition for the essential role your businesses, vehicles and staff play in supporting our everyday life. This industry has, for far too long, been undervalued and taken for granted, and I hope that in this most difficult year, it represents a turning point for all of us. Enjoy the rest of the event, and I look forward to seeing you virtually through the course of the day. Thank you very much indeed.